You went to now boarding school.
Yes.
You're now living. I know that experience is, even me, once I went to boarding school, it's a shift because now you're living alone, you can make your own choices, but there's also a lot going on in the school where you're trying to balance out everything.
Can I jump there? Can I jump there? No. Raul, no. It's not that you can make your own decisions. No.
The school
Somebody else is making their own decisions for you now.
Okay.
You go with that perception. But remember that at that time, I was brought up respecting
Christian.
Yes, and respecting elders, respecting anybody who's older than you, any authority that there is. So for me, there was never a concept of I can make my own decision.
Okay.
That concept was never a part of the story. No. It was always that I have now been relocated from the authority of my parents' roof to another authority who I don't know, to meet people I have never, I don't understand, you know.
How was that experience for you?
It was, can I say, interesting. Okay, I didn't like it. To be honest, in the beginning I did not like it because as far as I was concerned, I didn't understand what was happening. All right. With hindsight, of course, I know that it was actually, I should have gone in a different attitude. It is all about attitude.
But paint a picture of us, of somebody who has not been to a boarding in a high school,
at that
public boarding high school at that time.
At that time.
Yeah.
So you check in and everybody who's there is a top student in the county. Okay, so it's a provincial school at that time. So if you're top in any way, you should have been in a top school in Nairobi. The fact that you're not in a school in Nairobi means that you are not as good as they are. So already that is a black mark on you. Now, remember at that time, and like now when it's the towns are very close to one another and we can actually reach out. At that time, if there were guys who had grown up in the shags setup kind of thing, okay? So for them, they don't understand this whole Nairobi business, okay? There was like a clear demarcation, all right, in terms of upbringing, in terms of life, in terms of that whole space, okay? Remember, I've grown up in my parents' home a lot. Some of the guys I met in school, you're meeting a guy he's already got his own, they've got their own detached, in my language, it's called Aligira. Aligira is basically, you've got your heart, you've said like allowing you to have some independence because they're from that kind of a setup. In Nairobi, we did not have that. Even after you go through rites of passage, we did not have the fact that now you get your own house, you get your own this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm meeting people who are already appreciating this. I'm meeting guys who are older than me in the same setup, and now it's no longer parents. They're supposed to be my peers, but they are ordering me around. It was a bit scary. There are guys who are slapping each other. There are guys, as long as the guys are 1 year ahead of you, he's your boss. That kind of a setup. Bullying at that time was a norm. Okay, but I was a bit fortunate than most. I knew guys who were seniors at that time when I got in. So they said the bullying, but then the seniors, the ones I knew, were also
protecting you.
They were protecting.
What kind of bullying was happening to others?
Well, even to me, I mean, apart from one, you'll be given you had the one of you're given a shoe and you're told to call home.
Or you call home using the shoe.
Yeah, you're given a okay. You're being sent around, basically. You're given clothes to wash. The seniors' clothes, you're told to wash these clothes, that kind of thing. Okay. Basically, if anybody had any speaking, if it's time for chores, you will do their chores before the teachers check in, or the prefects check in. So you make sure you've done their chores before that. Their shoes you shine. Stuff like that. So basically, you're there and
Is there any physical beating?
It's more emotional than anything else. It's more emotional than anything else. If you mess up, of course, corporal punishment was real at that time. So if you messed up, the prefects they could slap you around a bit, but not. I don't remember the kind of like what you're asking, the kind of like physical, like they beat you down. No, because remember, this is a rural setting. These guys you want to beat down, react. The guy you want to fix, I remember there's a guy, I think he was already 6 foot something by the time we were in Form 1, right? I think he was like 3 years, 4 years older than us already. I know there's a guy who had a wife by the time we were in school. You're meeting guys like that and you're thinking to yourself, what on earth is going on here? You see what I mean?
Do you think when you're going through it, not in hindsight, when you're going through it, was it a good experience? Was it something you wanted to go back home to Nairobi?
Oh, no, 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 no. It was not something I wanted. You see, as far as I was concerned, it was a punishment. As far as I was concerned, I'd been kicked out of Nairobi in a sense. The truth is I was very disappointed in myself. So because I did not get what I was supposed to get. So I knew that I should have been able to get the marks required. Okay? Now, when I got there, then you realize that I have to fight my way, but I don't know how to fight. All right? So the only thing that came out for me is because I play sports. Yeah, okay? I used to play soccer. I played a bit of rugby, basketball, that kind of sports. But I was in the school team very fast. So I managed to get into the school team very, very, very quickly, like in fast form. And there were older guys, much older guys than that. Okay? And that really made all the difference. So what I did is I immersed myself in sports rather than books, because that's the way I could get away with it. Okay? There was a rule that you don't speak vernacular. So I did not speak vernacular. I was very particular about that. The crazy part is the entire student base, almost 99 or 98% or 99% of it speaks vernacular. So I think I also like segregated myself from a lot of people because of that.
This time, you said you've grown up in a Christian home.
Yes.
Did you feel the Christian part of you come out in high school?
Oh, yes. You remember Proverbs 22:6, train a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he'll not depart from it. I got in and I was in the CU. I mean, there's a guy who came, a student came in, I preached, and I joined the CU. I tried to join the Catholic Association, but I was like, okay, I didn't feel them too much. I joined the CU. I was an active member of the CU for a bit.
You said in high school is when your story got interesting.
That part got interesting first, because I remember I've gone in with a different mindset. I've not gone in with a book's mindset. I've gone in, it's like being thrown into the deep end. It's like being in the middle of sharks. I have to learn how to survive with people who are already, for them, living on their own is not a big deal. Okay? So you're sitting with someone, you say something and he looks at you like you're a child. It's not funny, and they look down on you basically. Okay? So that's how come I love the sport so much, because sports helped me stand out. Okay? And that was, for me, like an escape route.
So now you joined the CU, you're participating in the CU. Is this time when you think you transition from the Catholic to the...
I mean, for me, because of my love for books, I tend to cram things. I don't know if it's cram. I tend to hold material that I read. I'm able to take it in and appreciate it. So for me, it's anything that is versatile. Okay. I had decided, the thoughts had already decided, but yes, at that time is when now it becomes more, because I am more involved with the CU in school, and so I can see the versatility in it. The jumping and everything. The Catholic Church is rigid. They have a structure, and it works. Okay, but I realize I'm not very good with that structure, because my brain is not like all the time. It's not moving all the time.
Okay. And at that, now just maybe to finalize on the high school part, were you influenced in any way by your peers who now are older than you? Did they have any influence on you? And if yes, what?
Well, yes. I've always hung out with older people, because I remember, I came to learn later in life, yes, I am an introvert, and a serious introvert. Because of my love for books, you realize that then I'm not very good with the conversation around me. So I tended to hang out with the older people, because like I said, the people who are protecting me are older than I am. I'll hang out with also a few people from my class. Now, the influence would be the kind whereby I got influenced away from them. I don't know if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So they are all speaking vernacular, and I make a definite decision, I'm not going to get into trouble in school. We had a headmaster who he slapped, you could hear it from, if you're an Arabic Baptist church, you'll hear it at Kenyatta. When he slapped someone, that kind of thing. So I was not very good. I was very afraid of the punishment. So I tended to now, it tended to make me become more of, not a loner per se, but just tended to make me start listening more to people. That's the kind of influence. I was conditioned like that. I tended I appreciate that I can actually survive on my own a bit for a season. Not that I liked it. If you asked me at that time, no, not at all. I just had to do that, you know. So I played sports, a lot of sports. Then I'll come and I'll sit in a crowd and let the crowd talk.
Okay. At that time, did you know what you wanted to do?
At that time, I used to love. I love planes. I used to, still do. I love planes. I love aviation. I love that space. So for me, that was always a plan. I always thought about that perhaps I'd be a pilot. But at that time, I mean, the serious careers were architecture, being a doctor, being a lawyer. And because of passing in school, then you realize you're told you have the grades for it. But at that time, I was not. My head was factored no more toward aviation. So I remember is why I wanted to go to Mango, because they had an aviation kind of like setup.
How did you do then now after high school?
Okay, high school is a story in its own, by the way, because that's also where, you know, you realize that when you learn how to live on your own, this is actually one of the first places where you start trying to be an individual. In high school, there was a time, because of being from Nairobi, there was a bit of a situation that arose where we went for some drama festival, right? Science Congress. Yes, I was actually presenting in that Science Congress. I did. We did a Science Congress. We went out, and then guys came back. Now, when we were out of school, was it the Science Congress or the drama festival? One of those, and some guys went to drink. But then remember, I don't hang out with guys from the locale, because at that time, not because I don't like them or anything, actually I like them, but then it's because I'm not very good at speaking the language at that time. For me, I say English is my first language. But then, so when we go back to school, I realized some of them had gone and drunk. But because we were in a group, we were all kicked out together.
You're suspended?
Yes. And I'm thinking, where am I coming in this story? I was not drinking with them. And it was a bit, for me, that was really unfair, as far as I was concerned.
So you had to go back home to Nairobi?
Exactly. First of all, how am I coming back? Where am I going? I'm going to die. How am I going to explain that one?
How did your friends react?
Oh, dude.
Especially your mom, sure.
Well, I think more my dad, because I was more afraid of my dad. Both of them, they were very unhappy, I think. But remember Malona, I was an introvert, so to speak. So I tended to like keep to myself in a sense, you know. But they were very, very disappointed. That I remember. They were very, very disappointed.
Did they believe you?
To be honest, I don't know. Today, I don't know.
To date, you don't know?
I'm not sure. But I would tend to think that perhaps they thought, yeah, I'm being a petulant child. I'm like everybody else. And maybe I drank and I didn't.
Was that the first experience with alcohol that you had?
I didn't drink.
Yeah, like just seeing people drunk.
No. I've been brought up pretty decent. So I used to see people in the house drinking and stuff like that at an early age. Christian, when I say drinking, it's much earlier. I had relatives who could have a drink and everything when I was very, very young.
Why did you decide not to drink? Was it because of the detachment with those people?
It's where I was brought up. I was brought up as a Christian. Okay, and I was brought up. Remember, I did not want. The guys I am with are guys from Nairobi. Yeah. So they're guys but I feared the punishment, the repercussion, and I know I'm too young to drink at that time. Also, I didn't have the money. But I think more than that, it's the upbringing. My upbringing did not allow me to. At that time, I believe I did not have the guts to drink.
Okay. So after high school, what happens after high school?
Well, that suspension happened, came out. High school I did not do as well as I wanted because I lost psych after that. For a period, I lost psych, that space. Finished school. Toward the end of high school, I think we were supposed to be suspended. Now this one we went out again. Now this one I went out. That's the only time I ever went out.
Okay, so what did you go to do?
Well, I thought I'd been already accused by the headmaster because remember I'm from Nairobi for all these years. So this was the last before just during the exam, and then we went out and guys got busted.
Okay. So you were just going to
going to the disco. They were going to the disco. So for me it was an experience.
In years.
Yeah, and then we got busted by our chief invigilator.
This was during the exam?
Yes, it was before the exam.
Oh, okay.
And then came back, and I thought I'd gotten away with it. But one guy came back later than everybody else, and he got busted coming back drunk.
And you had to say everybody was with him.
Exactly. And it brought, that changed a lot of things. The reason I bring it up is because it had a very big bearing on the rest of my life.
Oh, why?
Because the headmaster, he said he was very glad that I had finally been caught in a group. Finally, he was excited. So he came to me and told me he's not going to expel me. So I remember I did my biology practicals when I was standing up because of the canes. Okay, I did my exams, finished school. I thought that story is done. But I remember the 31st when I was going out, I was supposed to go out with some friends of mine, and I remember is when my dad gave me a piece of paper that had the names of all my pals and told me, do you know this guys? And I knew, oh dear, ooh.